My name is Lynn Gentry and I'm from Los Angeles. Basically I write poetry for people on the street, various different places, either on the street or in the subway. The first place I ever saw it done was in Oregon at the Oregon Country Fair. And the poet that I saw there was Jacqueline Suskin, who's now in Los Angeles, California. And when I began, I went to San Francisco and started typing in Haight-Ashbury of San Francisco. And that's where I typed for 5 years, as well as the Mission District in San Francisco. And in the past summer, I ended up moving from San Francisco to New York. August of 2014. And in doing so, I went across the country and typed in one city of each state going along the way. So I've been typing in New York since last August. I've typed in various subway stations, Union Square, West 4th, Court Square, and Rockefeller. 2 weeks ago, I started typing here in Park Slope. I don't know where I'm going to end up. So with that, the typewriter is something, it doesn't need electricity, and the words are put down legibly for people to see, and I can hand it off to someone. But even so, it gives it more of an intimate setting for me. I do edit, but for the most part, it is finite in a sense of I have to make a decision in the moment. The thing that I think that's most fluent between people is no matter where you go, you end up getting stuff about family, love, and you end up getting different things about friendship and birthdays, which is just kind of another way of saying friendship. But with that, I think that it differs from place to place in terms of people's ideology. Being in Park Slope, you have a lot more families, which is a different place of life of someone who's in Williamsburg or someone who's in San Francisco. San Francisco, you might be at the same age as those people, but the idea of the kind of life you live is very different.
She works, but only to the appointment. So she can come here, but she gave me $3 for you, and she said if you can do something with this.
I would love a poem about snacks.
Snacks?
Snacks.
Cool. You generally have recurring topics, and as far as patterns go, for the most part, it's more so based off of the idea of a philosophy that one holds. For instance, if you were to go to Rockefeller Plaza, or that station, the majority of the poems, as opposed to being about love, are most of the time about happiness, which I think for the most part you end up finding, I think it's something that the people there, they lack. I think that with a lot of people you get to a sort of position where from an outside look it may be envied, but in kind of gazing from the inside, I think it's a sort of thing that people themselves aren't really comfortable dealing with.
Can I put you to work?
Yeah. What are you thinking about?
What am I thinking about? Change.
Change?
Change.
All right. So the subject of change.
Transitioning in life right now.
For the most part, I think that from East Coast to West Coast, I think that New York is very conservative in a lot of ways. In San Francisco, you can see a person just walking down the street naked, and people walk by because it's a very normal thing. the ideas of laws of what people do in San Francisco. You could go to a park and just kind of smoke, drink, do whatever you want to do. And what's your name?
D-A-N-I-E-L, Daniel.
D-A-N-I-E-L?
D-A-N.
Like Daniel in the Lion's Den?
Yeah.
Here it's a very conservative thing. It's if people do the same things as there, they do it at home. They do it outside of the open. The idea of meeting someone and going back to their house that same day that you meet them is probably not going to happen. Even so, in meeting someone, you're probably going to have to plan for a while before you end up meeting them and seeing their lives.
My wife wants a love poem, she said. That's her right there. I don't know how this works.
Well, how did you meet?
What's that?
How did you meet?
We met at a bar, sober.
Cool.
Oh my God, no, she wants a love poem about her dog.
The West Coast, it's not there. There I had a very intimate look at what people's lives were like, not just through writing poems, but over time, it might start with a poem and then I might end up learning more about them. So then when I write the next one, in a sense, it's someone that I've lived with. But here it's more so, it's an interpretation a lot of times, which some people will let you in. And some people, it's more kind of giving you these clues, giving you these different things, which the interesting thing is the corner ends up becoming that place where it is a sort of intimate setting. What have you been doing for treatment, may I ask?
Oh, I did chemo and stuff, so I'm off of the chemo now, and now I'm just taking a lot of medications trying to get everything back to normal.
Yes. My dad is a poet, and when I started writing, we'd kind of go over the writing together and kind of compare thoughts, and that's how I kind of grew into understanding writing. But I actually majored in music and attended Victor Valley College in San Francisco State in San Francisco. When I saw poetry, I found that this was something that still I could communicate through, but I felt like it was more so something that I was able to communicate with the world on a level where I didn't feel like it belittled anything. With music, the only way that I was going to do that is if I was doing covers or if I just completely changed the way that I thought about it, and I didn't think it was worth doing that. But poetry is something that I feel like I can still work in a medium that I completely understand what I want to say to people, and I just go right ahead and say it. I'd like to do what I need to do here, and I'd like to look towards a place where longevity can exist. I think that we'd like my wife and kids, we'd like to buy a place somewhere where I just don't see that as being a reality in New York.
I met you at the subway station.
At Union Square?
Yes.
Yeah.
You wrote me a poem about bias, racial bias, and sustainability.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Nice.
I love it. It's good to
Thank
see you, man.
Good seeing you.